Welcome, weary travellers of the digital age, to a journey through time where we whisper the tales of ancient toil. As we delve into the relentless rhythm of Egyptian slaves' lives, let the monotony of history lull you into a gentle slumber. If these stories help you drift off, give us a sleepy thumbs up and subscribe for more bedtime histories. Before your eyelids grow heavy, comment below where you're tuning in from and what time it is. Let's weave a global tapestry of sleepy souls. Sweet dreams and good night from the ages past. Imagine a bustling city, a sprawling metropolis rising from flat land, where stone giants touch the heavens and monuments silently brag of a civilization's greatness. In this city, as you walk through grand archways and along pathways of meticulously laid stone, an army of hands pulls and lifts, brick by brick, a city made to withstand both time and nature. Yet, these hands have no voice. They are the silent builders of history. In the glorious civilization of ancient Egypt, history celebrates the pharaohs and deities, the engineers and architects, but seldom do we hear the stories of those whose hands brought those visions to life, the slaves. Their lives and labour carved the identity of this land, carrying the weight of their nation's future on weary shoulders. Picture those hands that remained unrecorded in name, yet formed the very foundation of Egypt's iconic stature. The concept of slavery in ancient Egypt was nuanced and evolved over time. Unlike the chattel slavery of recent centuries, many Egyptian slaves were war captives, forced to spend their lives as labourers in building projects such as pyramids, temples, and monuments. Although some slaves were treated relatively well, and a few could rise in status to become part of the household or acquire rights, the larger narrative was one of relentless labour and anonymity. Imagine being part of a massive human machine, churning away day and night, bound by duty and the horizonless wheel of tasks. Hundreds, if not thousands, of individuals aligned in one direction, each brick they placed becoming a silent testament of their existence. Each stone laid not simply transported, but filled with the sweat, pain, and endurance of countless souls. However, their stories remain largely untold, buried beneath the grand tales of the dominant figures of history. These were people often stripped not only of freedom, but simultaneously of their individualities. Consider this: the monumental structures they built still stand thousands of years later, a testament to their labour and skill, yet their identities have faded into oblivion. As enormous stones were situated under the relentless sun, slaves toiled with limited tool-scopper chisels, hoes, and mallets, wrestling the will of nature and stone with their bare resolve. This part of history carries a paradoxal civilization of immense beauty and cultural sophistication, constructed with the profound sacrifice of unnamed individuals. The pyramids, standing as quintessential symbols of human accomplishment, owe their existence to those who lived and died near them, often in harsh conditions, with little recognition of their contribution. It can be humbling, even in our modern perspective, to ponder the vast expanse of human life dedicated to such grandeur without so much as a footnote in the annals of recorded history. How does one reckon with this invisible lineage, this tapestry woven without recognition? They were builders who endured to create beauty, yet their own lives often saw no reflection of that beauty. Historic records sometimes speak of rations of bread and beer as recompensae, simple diet for those tasked with elaborate creations. Often overlooked is the irony that while constructing the pharaoh's eternal resting place, many slaves lived fleeting lives, devoid of personal comfort or memorial. Yet, despite the overwhelming silence around their individual stories, their collective legacy endures in stone. As you look at the seemingly improbable hands that crafted the richness of ancient Egypt, take a moment to reflect on these societal scaffolds, often invisible in the dazzling glare of civilization. Their story is both a cautionary tale and a testament to resilience, a reminder to cherish the muted stories that shape our shared human heritage. And now, as you let your eyes close, ponder on the grand starlit sky, reminiscent of the calm, eternal desert night under which these labourers rested. The monuments by their hands whisper tales of toil, if only one listens quietly enough. So, as we drift gently into rest, let's carry a piece of this silent gratitude, honouring the hands that shaped timeless wonders, ensuring their unnamed toil continues to be felt rather than forgotten. Take a moment to reflect on this journey, and let the calm of history's whispers cradle you into tranquility. Imagine living under an unyielding sun where every breath tastes of sand and your daily toil is as predictable as the rising tide of the Nile. Envision a life bound by the rhythms of nature, where the harsh environment dictates your existence. This was the life of many Egyptian slaves tethered intimately to the land upon which they worked, much like the endless grains of sand beneath their feet. They were not only subjected to the unrelenting task of shaping massive stones and erecting magnificent monuments, but also subsumed by the natural world's eternal cycles. Their lives ran parallel to the floods that dictated Egypt's agricultural calendar, a ceaseless loop of labour intertwined with the whims of nature. For the Egyptian slaves, their labour was a daily testament to both the durability and fragility of human effort. Life under these conditions hinged entirely on the changing seasons and the yearly flooding of the Nile. The annual inundation deposited fertile silt onto the land, necessary for farming, yet dictated the pace and intensity of their construction tasks. When not labouring to produce food, slaves were diverted to projects that would endure far beyond their lifetimes, creating an enduring testament to both their struggle and endurance. This connection between their lives and the land highlights a visible, yet often overlooked aspect of their existence. Bound inextricably to the earth they toiled upon, these individuals experienced an existence where every grain, every flood, became intertwined with their fate. Beyond the physical demands, consider the mental and emotional weight carried by these labourers. They worked the land that would not only bear food, but also support structures of glory under Pharaoh's visions. Yet, they saw little of this grandeur reflected back into their daily lives. Imagine the psychological stance it required not only to build, but to do so knowing the fruits of such efforts would never belong to them. A paradox emerges. They were vital in creating lasting monuments and infrastructure, while their personal stories and contributes ebbed away with the sands of time, largely unfelt by the wealthy elite, resting upon the nation's constructed might. In a world profoundly governed by divine order and royal decrees, the the slave's worldview was likely ingrained with duality. On the one hand, the pharaoh was considered a god-king, ruling by divine right, while on the other hand, their reality was marked by an endless cycle of arduous labor and resilience. It's important to ponder how one reconciles such contrasting aspects. Perhaps the regularity of the Nile's flooding, with all its destructive and nurturing force, provided a natural equilibrium in people's experiences. Much like the river, their own lives were cycles of persistence and renewal. Relentless beginnings with little reprieve, much like sowing seeds under challenging conditions while dreaming of reaping their potential harvest. Even as the sprawling sands of Egypt hid their footprints soon after they were made, the laborers were an intrinsic part of their environment. Their knowledge of the land and its moods ensured that they could continue an existence bound to tenuous sustenance carved from the earth through sheer determination. They lived, they worked, and loved on a land that demanded constant dedication, an unending struggle that was both their prison and their livelihood. Enmeshed with nature, their knowledge and experience were passed unscripted from one generation to the next, swimming across the vast sea of anonymity that swirled around them. In embracing these buried stories, one discovers an extraordinary network of lives inscribed into the silent earther history, spoken softly yet powerfully through the splendor of the very land itself. The paradox of existence beneath an ancient sun speaks to an experience where resilience stands tall against time's erosion. So, as we rest, drifting into the lull of evening or the warmth of imagined Egyptian skies, let the subdued echo of these distant lives remind us of the enduring capabilities that humanity possesses even under the most trying circumstances. Allow this exploration of history to coax a deeper calm as we appreciate the steadfast march of nature and the ceaseless circle of life and labor we all share. Consider being part of constructing a wonder of the world, where each stone you lay is a step toward immortalizing a civilization, yet your own name dissolves into obscurity. This is the paradox faced by Egyptian slaves, who contributed to monumental achievements like the towering pyramids and sprawling temples, all the while existing as anonymous figures in the grand portrayal of history. Their laborious efforts helped erect eternal structures, symbols of human ingenuity and ambition, yet they themselves blended into the sands of time, unrecognized and unsung. The monuments stand as marvels that intrigue societies millennia later, paradoxically illuminating the grandeur constructed through their sacrifice, while the hands that crafted them are forgotten, swallowed by the passage of time. The grandiose structures we associate with ancient Egypt were indeed mighty projects that required not only the vision of architects and planning by engineers, but the relentless toil of countless laborers. The irony is stark. These slaves created such scale and beauty, transcending time itself, while their identities remained in the shadows, uncelebrated. Their existence underscores the quintessential irony of being witness to history without a name. Despite having built the pharaoh's eternal legacies, they gained neither the glory nor acknowledgement for their contributions. The scarcity of individual names or records in ancient Egyptian labor narratives speaks to a vast anonymity inherent in their societal structure contrasting sharply with the grandiose praise heaped upon the tombs they helped manifest. To give this story flesh, explore two contrasting examples. One might imagine an artisan laying bricks under the searing heat of the Egyptian sun, each brick placed becoming part of a mountainous tomb that would become a pharaoh's eternal dwelling place. His routine might consist of endless stacking, ensuring alignment with the meticulous blueprints dictated by overseers. Fast forward to modern-day excavations, where we unearth remnants of these workers' villages, finding tools and markings, but seldom a hint of personal stories or heroics woven into their scripts. Decades later, a modern parallel might be the countless unnamed hands that assemble our skyscrapers and metropolises, each skyscraper reflecting something of its creator's unspoken sacrifice, though they, too, may fade into life's oblivion, absent from architectural accolades. This anonymity challenges notions of legacy and fame. Concepts considered prestigious and visible remain tantalizingly out of reach for the builders whose blood and sweat gave these structures life. It speaks to a broader, humbler perspective on what it means to leave a legacy or impact humanity through quiet contributions rather than loud acknowledgements. What of self-respect and peace, knowing your work forms the bedrock of greatness, even if your contribution is whispered, not shouted? The imbalance between contribution and recognition is not exclusive to ancient civilizations. It echoes through today's societies, making the exploration of this paradox reflective of ongoing cultural inquiries about merit and remembrance. Facing such paradoxes demands reflection on how societies reward and remember labor and creativity. History tends to elevate those who rule or conceptualize, leaving invisible those who lay the foundations. Egyptian monuments may showcase glory and divinity, shaping today's landscapes and ensuring breaths are caught at their site. Yet the nameless labourers embody a different kind of immortality, a whisper, an undercurrent beneath the louder inscriptions. To apply or recognize this in our lives, observe how everyday efforts, though absent from proclamations, carry significant weight in society's progression. Thus, this dialogue isn't just about historical humility, but about honouring the ongoing nameless legions who lay today's futures. Underlying these timeless contradictions is a call for understanding the beauty in silent dedication, offering a lesson in humanity's unbroken chain, reminder of contribution, transcending headlines, and resonating meaning buried deep within our collective legacy. Reflect on how we define and honour contributions uniquely carved into society's pillars. Let the whispers of ancient labour fill the quiet moments with a subtle acknowledgement of those who remain unnamed but never insignificant. As you find your breath settling and your thoughts calming, take a moment to embrace the quiet legacy left by millions of invisible voices that still reverberate through today's monumental achievements, teaching us about the permanence found in ephemeral lives. Close your eyes and feel hunger gnawing at you, yet the work never ceases, a relentless cycle mirrored by the sun's journey across the sky. The daily struggle for sustenance was a harsh reality for Egyptian slaves, a battle as enduring as the structures they built. Their diets were meagre, the staple of bread and beer, serving as both nourishment and payment. This diet while reflective of the broader sustenance available in ancient Egypt, speaks volumes about the paradoxical nature of their existence constructing grandeur while surviving on simplicity. Bread and beer provided the necessary calories to fuel back-breaking labor, a testament to both survival in harsh conditions and reminder of limited existence dictated by necessity rather than choice. Sustenance was not just about survival. It was an endless reminder of their position within the societal hierarchy. Food became a part of their identity as much as the roles they played in the monumental workforce of ancient Egypt. Imagine waking before sunrise to slip into a day defined not by personal aspirations, but by laborious tasks, each hour calibrated by the limitations of one's diet. Each morsel consumed with care, measured precisely to endure until evening's reprieve. This symbiotic relationship between labor and sustenance underscored how human resilience was tested daily in ways that transcended mere physicality, entering a realm of psychological perseverance. Despite the accurate expectation of mealtime, both portions and potential satisfaction were often determined by external scenarios like harvest success or resource allocation. This routine not only tied them to the land through physical labor, but also bound them emotionally, linking survival to the whims of agriculture and economy. This elemental struggle continued season after season, a cycle reinforced by the eternal sun and ever-shifting sands they called home. Consider an analogy. Much like a machine unable to function without fuel, the body and spirit of a laborer were kept in equilibrium by bread and drink. Every bite symbolized determination, a silent resilience that threaded their existence through exhaustion back into dawn's beginnings, a testament not only to building pylons and pyramids, but also to life's stark persistence. The enduring presence of these simple meals among the ruins of grandiose architectures points to a deeper truth about human tenacity under duress. Bread, often unleavened and harsh to the palate, would symbolize the imbibed endurance necessary for survival while constructing temples towering above. Beer, often less alcoholic than modern varieties, was a safer hydration source than water, serving dual needs, a pacifying caloric supplement and a salve against the arduous burdens of daily life. To juxtapose, envision consuming simple, sustaining meals in the shadow of the very structures that were a testament to your persistent toilware. Both your labor and sustenance were commodities measuring social distance and privilege. These meals, enjoyed communally, likely forged deep human connections, a remnant of choice where little else was offered, reaffirming shared existence amid the cacophony of worn stone and authority's watchful eye. Daily tasks intertwined with daily bread, each chore underpinned by the knowledge that one's output was predicated upon their capacity to gather subsequent sustenance. Productivity literally fed into survival, creating a loop where effort required sustenance and sustenance movement. The broader life ramifications extended beyond simple survival to encompass thoughts on personal value and hope, the continuity of tradition speaking to modern parallels where labor itself embodies struggle beyond mere existence. Reflection upon this imbues today's audiences with insights beyond the past, inviting thoughtful acknowledgement of labor within human evolution. Ancient Egypt, resplendent in its cultural accomplishments, silently displays woven narratives of human diversity rested upon bread-based foundations. As nighttime tempers the sun and your thoughts slow, let this paradoxical dance of sustenance and survival cradle your introspection. Relish knowing humanity's progression, born not only of grand designs, but perpetual willfulness in pursuit of existence, legacy built beside life and its ancient staples. Amid this echo of time, submerge in your present tranquility, gently cradled by the resonance of shared stories. Imagine building skyscrapers with toothpicks, where every action feels like rolling a boulder uphill. This was the reality for Egyptian slaves, who crafted colossal monuments with primitive tools. The task was monumental, yet their tools were remarkably simple copper chisels, wooden plumbs, dolerite hammers, a toolkit laughably basic by today's standards. These tools, though small and seemingly insufficient, set the stage for grand achievements, a testament to human ingenuity under constraints. Imagine the laborer's daily ritual, rising under the vast expanse of starlit skies, knowing that every sunbeam revealing the day ahead meant grappling stones larger than life itself. Each tool was an extension of the worker's hands, a tangible connection between human aspiration and large, unwavering stone slabs. With these basic implements, they carved the very essence of Egyptian majesty, monumental constructions reflecting their cunning perseverance and adaptability even when faced with absent modern conveniences. The tools wielded by these ancient labourers were more than mere instruments. They were enablers of an epoch, each hammer strike and chisel mark a notation in the orchestrated symphony of ancient construction. The scale of ambition was immense, yet these rudimentary tools served their purpose well, ingeniously applied by an adept workforce. Consider the mechanics of copper chisels, frequently sharpened and replaced, their edges deteriorating with persistent use against the harder limestone. Workers would utilize stone rubbers to smooth surfaces and wooden levers to maneuver giant blocks into precise alignment in construction processes that exalted both engineering and humans' innovative spirit. The seemingly inadequate technology required intense skill, creativity, and resilience, a perpetual hymn to functionality overcoming the seemingly insurmountable. Despite the rudimentary nature of their tools, the ancient Egyptians achieved enduring greatness, explaining how these basic implements produced intricate artwork, lettering, and construction. Imagine a worker drenched in sweat, trapped in ever-arid air currents, positioning impossibly weighty blocks with wooden scaffolds and rudimentary pulley systems. Precision applied within such confines exhibits incredible artistry, weaving masterful creations not merely through planned design, but by deft execution of the finest ancient craftsmanship. This was not merely a triumph of technique over tool, but of humanity's unyielding creativity over limitation. The worker's mastery meant overcoming immense obstacles leveraging methods involving mud brick ramps and wooden sleds to haul in giant stones across the desert floor. To further grasp the juxtaposition of tool simplicity against grand results, consider modern parallels. Illustrators crafting intricate designs with basic pencils or sculptors chiseling masterpieces despite rudimentary chisels. The notion of creating complexity with simplicity underscores profound comprehension of materials. The the subjects themselves rendered not as limitations, but as collaborative partners in creative process. This balance forms the poignant line between the primitive appearance of Egyptian implements and their impressively refined outcomes, demonstrating how humans have transcended baseline materials to deliver aesthetic marvels standing testament millennia later. This exploration reminds us of our capacity for innovation, inspiration derived from ancient hands, using the simplest means to forge wonders of enduring legacy. It provokes reflection on human endeavor across ages, transcending mere instrumentality to encompass spirit and vision and understanding, applicable outside grand architectural projects and into today's world of challenges. Think of the modern engineer who, aided by algorithms, completes tasks that once required sprawling teams, illustrating how thoughtfulness informs work, whether through rudimentary leverage or modern precision. By reflecting on this, each pause allows deeper connection with past accomplishments, characterized by quiet yet formidable force, the art of doing much with little, a philosophy well suited as one considers challenging dreams within a broader context. Breath that acknowledgement in as night envelops another day, realizing that despite epochs, inspiring tools fell upon constrained shoulders whose determination echoes through plea and elegance alike. Rest here, where relaxation meets quietude, serenely held by whispers of determined spirits once contained by humble hammer and chisel, but never by ambition. As we drift into restful calm, let the gentle sound of ancient tools guide us, evoking enduring stories of perseverance and innovation across the sands of time. Envision a human pyramid where most souls form the base, supporting the opulence above. This is the stark reality of Egyptian slaves and their place in the social pyramid, living lives interwoven with the stark hierarchy of their society. At the pinnacle were the pharaohs, considered god-kings, their massive tombs and grand edifices resting on the backs of countless laborers, the vast majority of whom toiled anonymously. This socio-political structure highlights not only the power dynamic of ancient Egypt, but also how essential laborers were within this intricate system. Their efforts ensured stability and continuity, allowing rulers to perpetuate both divine rule and earthly magnificence. As laborers, these slaves formed the invisible foundation of Egyptian hierarchy, working beneath overseers and craftsmen, but above mere subsistence. Status and labor allocation were intricately determined by social class, with the slaves far from the privileges enjoyed by priests or nobles. In spite of their foundational roles, Egyptian slaves were subject to strict control, often worked hard under the vigilant eyes of taskmasters. Their days unfolded in an almost rigid routine, whether it was the fields or quarries they slogged under, or mud brick makers endlessly moulding clay. The societal pyramid upon which they labored was vast and complex, encapsulating common elements of control, yet demanding immense coordination and discipline. Each segment, especially the base, was vital, functioning harmoniously to realize the grand aspirations of a civilization revered even millennia later. Within this well-oiled machine of hierarchy, slaves remained numerous, yet faceless, necessary, but deprived of recognition and rights. Their service and sacrifices became an unwritten chapter that buttressed pharaohs' tombs taller than fiction could conceive. The shift in roles and identities reflects how ancient Egypt managed to evolve its structures from mere survival-oriented societies to complex, stratified organisms of grand designs. To illuminate more, consider two examples. Imagine a marketplace bustling with artisans, while nearby, slaves haul stone blocks under the overseer's gaze. Their lives intertwine invisibly with those of craftsmen and scribes, as unmarked in records as bricks in adorned temple walls. At the other extreme, consider a grand ceremony celebrating a pharaoh's achievement trees penned in gold by scribes, while those who laid each golden piece are absent from annals. This interplay between visible society and unseen labour extends to modern contexts, where invisible workers support complex economies, their efforts quietly sustaining more prominent sectors. Such comparisons underline the enduring relevance of understanding societal hierarchies and the invisible roles many play within them. Their place on the societal spectrum mattered not only in proportional turnover, but also defined the essence of communal living within ancient Egypt. Even those tasked with seemingly menial responsibilities formed the bedrock for the social hierarchy on which Egypt's grandeur was built. An enduring story of hierarchy is told through their roles, reflecting a world where value lay in service to the holier concept, transcending time, and echoing practices in today's world of productivity measures and economic interplays. These perspectives matter significantly, correlating to widespread discussions on resource allocation, societal positioning, and value conceptualization beyond wealth measurement. Additionally, social hierarchies perpetuate interesting paradoxes. Productivity within a command economy demands laborers. Yet, their lack of individual agency conflicts with pyramid management principles dependent upon human capital productivity. Limitations necessitated innovation through necessity developing creative salves within the confines of a prescribed place to sustain both enslaved community and personal identity. Recognizing such paradoxes prompts contemplation. How do we acknowledge societal contributions defined through enduring patterns of hierarchy today? Amidst the societal foundations formed by those unseen, think of modern parallels assembled products, reflecting labour unrecognized, overseen, yet forgotten. The shifting sands of time obscure these detailed efforts, sometimes highlighting moments of brilliance, often sweeping identities under larger canopy shades. In contemplating our role within hierarchical societal landscapes, find tranquility in knowing echoes of past resolve reverberate softly through unfathomable depths of childhood constructs, cascading perpetually in human stories and dreams. Let a sense of quiet understanding mingle with curiosity. By embracing narrative history, acknowledge voices obscured by time, recognizing an essential rhythm, threading shared foundations across time, pride, and human endeavor. As you close your eyes and rest, focus on this subtle interplay, where silence speaks louder than stories, whispering lullabies in harmony with distant pasts. How can the same beliefs that chained the body also unchain the soul? This duality characterized the lives of Egyptian slaves intertwined with the intricate web of religion. For these laborers, religion was both a shackle, tying them to their earthly toil, and a beacon of hope, shining toward an eternal afterlife. In ancient Egypt, worship permeated every aspect of existence and guided lives in profound ways. The religion promised not only endurance in life's challenges, but also a reward of eternal peace, a dimension where justice and equality were no longer aspirations, but realizations. For the slaves, belief in the gods and the afterlife provided a coping mechanism, transforming labor from mere survival to acts, gaining greater cosmic significance. This faith offered solace amidst relentless labor, supporting dreams of transcendence beyond temporal sufferings. Viewing their toil as part of the divine plan illuminated harsh realities, infusing them with purpose even if their significance was invisibly etched parallel to hieroglyphic tales adorning the monuments they built. Embedded within mythology, religion accentuated social hierarchies while offering pathways to transcendence, contradictory to its lingering shackles. Religious practices were rich and complex, demanding observance and participation regardless of societal role. Rituals, festivals, and temple dedications all intertwined to create a tapestry where divine favor was both sought and revered. This dual role reconciled the harsh labors of daily life with dreams of celestial recompense, mystery, and divine justice. Envisioning themselves as part of the greater cosmic design, they believed their work-honored deities who spun the very threads of their world. The acknowledgement of an afterlife allowed respite from corporeal demands, imparting a belief in sanctuary, irrespective of physical, constraint, beautiful dichotomy, in which the unfairness of life found balance in promised eternity. Two illustrative examples can further illuminate this symbiosis. Imagine a laborer working from dawn to dusk, chiseling away at massive stone blocks under a relentless sun, yet participating in religious festivals celebrating the very gods who mandated their toil. These rituals created a palpable connection to the divine, introducing rare instances of jubilation and united community beyond labor's bounds. Between celebrations and the daily grind, stories of divine benevolence and cosmic justice reinforced slave beliefs. Conversely, picture elaborate temple walls adorned with vivid depictions of the gods watching over humanity, while those who portrayed them through artistic mastery were, themselves, largely erased from historic celebration. This dichotomy illustrates how spirituality intertwined to provide not just discipline, but escapie, fervent belief in eventual salvation, overpowering the physical hardships endured. This connection is significant far beyond its historical boundaries, resonating within modern interpretations of spirituality and redemption. It underscores humanity's ongoing search for meaning amidst adversity, transcending personal limitations, even within confines imposed externally. Sacred and secular implications echo through time's fabric, prompting contemplation of life's various dimensions, where spirituality bridges division, offering transcendence beyond their origins. Different from secular rewards, spiritual illumination nourishes inward aspirations, while tangible acknowledgement remains elusive. Moreover, religion within this context presented interesting paradoxes and conflicts. How could people, assuredly rooted in the divine hierarchy, endure silent anonymity without strife? Viewed through lenses measuring societal efficacy, the balance of earthly toil and promise of ethereal harmony reveals a social paradox. Despite immediate injustices, their belief systems allowed them to transcend, using spirituality as an invisible salve healing even harshest wounds. By dissecting such contradictions, we probe deeper within expressions of faith, asking, what recognition emerges from unfree hands, creating eternity when fueled by faith's tranquility? Modern parallels echo subtle threads whereby personal connections to spirituality provide solace. Yet, hierarchical entanglements are immensely shattered by earthly constraints, hinting at intricate dynamics permeating Egyptian cosmologies. This dual nature encourages introspection on how societies can craft frameworks weaving belief with values like dignity discovering strength through woven narratives, offering peace amidst struggle. Contemplate this notion in hailing tidal waves of history, when seeking quietude within silence's embrace, where time brings forth voices dormant, summoning prayers, transcending realms beyond known. As day folds into night, let this reflection lull into restful continuance, whispering gently against the rhythms of your own lives. In this shared voyage, embrace antiquity's understanding that within hardship, belief offers reprieve, nurturing both yearning and peace despite structural constraints. Drift now softly into the realm where dreams, hopes, and the gentle whisper of age-old prayers wrap you in their tender embrace, carrying forth lessons from long-extinguished fires into your every breath. Visualize a world where your life's value equates to the bricks you lay down each day. This was the reality for many Egyptian slaves, existing within an intricate economy where human lives were commodified. Their labor was the cornerstone of the Egyptian economy, yet ironically, their economic recognition was inversely proportional to their contribution. This economy of human life saw slaves as assets, livelihoods that translated to brick upon brick, manifesting monumental structures. Their value was calculated in terms of productivity, measured meticulously by their output rather than individuality or dignity. These slaves, many of whom were war captives, were inserted into the economy not as people but as labor units. Their reality epitomizes the paradox of a civilization that entrapped human potential within its architectural ambitions, while simultaneously downplaying the individual's worth to mere functional necessity. It prompts a profound reflection on how cultures equate value, crying silently through history's layers with unmatched lessons. In the world of ancient Egypt, monumental projects like pyramids and grand temples demanded substantial human resources. The economy was heavily reliant on such a workforce, with labor itself forming the economic scaffolding of the country. Slaves operated at the very heart of this system, digging quarries, molding mud bricks, and erecting the very pillars that defined Egyptian grandeur. Their commodification reflected broader societal structures that prioritized progress and grandeur over individual welfare. Each individual was a cog in a grand machine, stripped of personal liberty and repurposed to support Egypt's monumental ambitions. Yet even as their worth was reduced to output, their collective contribution laid the economic bedrock which allowed civilization to thrive. Harvests and constructions intertwined, binding human existence to the serene but unyielding cycles of the Nile. Slaves, therefore, were ensnared by inescapable tides physically in their labor and metaphorically in their roles within societal and economic hierarchies. Take, for example, the notion of a bustling construction site where slaves are pushed to exhaustion to meet a pharaoh's specifications. Payment in sustenance, rather than currency, meant their economic involvement was circular, feeding directly back into the mechanisms that sustained their toil. Each meal and hour worked were transactions within this closed system. Yet, on another level, consider a pyramid each stone, a unit of currency, its final structure, a monument etched with the unspoken worth of lives, monetized as physical labor. The engravings of grandeur remain, devoid of those whose sweat and sacrifice constructed such wonders, locked as mere echoes on stone tablets that never named their hands. Modern parallels draw attention to sectors where workers' values boil down to productivity levels, often missing the broader human context underpinning labor dynamics. This ancient economic system holds significant lessons for today's world, reminding us of humanity's capacity both for achievement and oversight. Acknowledge the profound conflict inherent in a system that appraises labor not by individual value, but mass scalability. Pathways to confront these paradigms lie in recognizing the paradox between collective progress and personal fulfillment, a balance, undeniably difficult, but vital to meaningful engagement within economic arenas. Beyond economic prominence are concepts of justice, equity, and recognition, ideas that redefine currency not only through production metrics, but holistic societal balance. Recognizing the inherent conflicts and contributions of ancient economic systems challenges current cultural constructs, advocating measures that enable human capital's full realization. It presses us to reassess economies driven by progress over people, questioning definitions of value and worth that might overlook humanity. Within society's palimpsest lies potential wisdom from buried lives, speaking truths in whispers ignored by time's loudest echoes. Let this narrative prompt contemplation and introspection as nighttime blankets the ancient world. In celebrating humanity's potential, transcending solely utilitarian definitions invites reflection, imbued with understanding, where history's cycles invite renewed examination of equitable futures. As rest finds you, imagine each breath inhaled as building blocks of value, and into the night, gently cradling whispers of yesterday's labor and love. Let these lullabies echo through to your modern economic arena, calling for kindness and sense restored among innovations surpassed by your time. Within this tranquil expanse, embrace lessons seeded through labor, that though invisible some lives may be, recorded by their stone and currency, all leave undeniable imprints when notice the heart can finally truly see. Imagine screamless pain and triumphing through inaudible voices, where the echoes of defiance are trapped within silent corridors of ancient monuments. In the lives of Egyptian slaves, survival often meant navigating a complex interplay of resilience and acquiescence, sculpted by the unyielding demands of both nature and their masters. Surviving through silence became an art of practice, honed amid existential hardships and relentless labor. This silence was not passive submission, but a calculated resistance, a subtle yet powerful testament to the enduring human spirit. From this resilience, arose unspoken stories of endurance, adaptation, and the will to survive under constant strain. Slaves mastered the quiet art of triumph, honing skills that stretched beyond stone and mortar, manifesting in keeping families together, maintaining cultural identities, and fostering resilience beneath oppression's weight. The power of silence speaks not of absence, but of presence, echoing louder than words amid the vast architectural tapestries they helped weave. Examine the daily life of a labourer as the sun rises over ancient lands, silently stepping into a role defined by relentless workload and strict oversight. Yet within these prescriptive roles, slaves discovered whispers of freedom in maintaining connections with each other. A shared glance, muted gestures, and time-worn melodies preserved their identities and cultures, binding communities under shared fates and dreams. They existed in spaces forged by their hands, but owned by others. Here, resilience flourished, an unnoticed art form. Quiet defiance and secret gatherings wove rich cultural tapestries, echoing against authoritarian architectures, underscoring unity within prescribed dominion. Even within confines seemingly impenetrable, dreams wielded strength, preserving both hope and heritage amid buried stories and untold histories. Silence thus enabled lives beyond regimented hours, inviting strength from within while building resistance capaciously hidden in harmony's solace. Modern contexts offer parallels in exploring overlooked voices, navigating circumstances through unseen media. Whether in bustling factories or quiet office cubicles, unrecorded collaborations cultivate resilience human potential, silenced by systemic barriers, yet articulating inspiration in whispers. A tapestry woven across epochs where muted connections retain power, highlighting unyielding adaptability for spiritual survival in continuous cycles. Like ancient labourers' tasks aligned in silence's communion, modern employees often articulate complexities through non-verbal realms finding. Intellectual concords bypass retreating words. The silence of the Egyptian slave was a language of its own, articulating hidden strengths and unheard struggles, a reminder across history of the value found not only in vocalized defiance, but within understanding identity and self-discovery amid noise's absence. This undertone narrative imparts significant lessons in understanding perseverance under authority's keen eye, framing potential reconceptualization of unseen disparities in contemporary iterations. Reflect on how silent stories shape present narratives through intangible constant tribute, both to individual fortitude and communal continuity of lives under duress. Paradoxically, this kept secret endurance reflects the complexities of identity within labour bounds, where toil delineates life, yet inspiration grounds individual legacies beyond visual constraints. History speaks through muted capsules, reminding us of voices unseen in the vivid celebrations created by enslaved hands, moulding golden eras behind facades still admired. Looking at the silent walls of temples and pyramids brings acknowledgement of distinct rhythms hidden beneath words, each stone echoing whispered legacies woven securely, honouring not only articulated triumph, but indirect mastery in survival arts. Allow this reflection to inform broader perspectives on humanity itself, where decibels fade, leading silhouettes dissolve similarly known stories' strength over eras. Recognizing both voiced and word-absent possibilities deepens understanding for inclusion within richly bound, intrinsic connections, fostering unity beyond established perceptions. Recognize resilience creatively, be beyond bound time, yet entirely understandable historical markers, reminding trials the journey finds fulfillment. As quiet envelops and tranquility descends, let songs of silent victories mirror ancient chants, harmonious refrains articulating endurance beyond structure's visible facade. Through diaries, largely unrecorded and untold truths, harmonized, timeless harmonic whispers emerge amidst resonating voids, enabling connective, dialogue-quiet lullabies of strength, crafting history's symphony. Rest now at this intersection of presence and absence, inviting serenity to cradle insighter, beautiful dance of audible stories imagined and resolved through centuries beneath moon's tender guidance. Sleep enveloped, wrapped gently in resilience's embrace, calmly inspired by buried voices, artfully curating enduring moments after echo's gentle fade. Could the absence of your name on your life's masterpiece lead to a different kind of immortality? This was the reality for Egyptian slaves, whose art became a testament to their skills, talents, and visions, yet their names and identities vanished into the sands of time. For these laborers, crafting magnificent tombs and temples was an art born of both necessity and innovation, every etching and statue a reflection of their expertise. The intricate carvings that adorned walls, the hieroglyphs that told tales of gods and kings, were manifestations of their creativity, each stroke hammered out by anonymous hands. In a realm where the name of the artisan was rarely celebrated, their anonymity underscores a profound paradox: the creation of eternal wonders without personal recognition. These slaves imbued their spirits within the art they created, their legacy raw and timeless, echoing silently within the colossal walls that now stand as silent witnesses to forgotten lives. Imagine artisans laboring under a relentless sun day after day, coaxing life from cold stone and inert clay. Their sculptures and paintings told stories of divine journeys and royal exploits, embedding into artistic memory ideations surpassing their temporal existence. As they crafted the intricate coffins and elaborate death masks, they shaped vessels for a journey beyond death, yet they themselves often found no such immortality. Every chisel mark was a testament of dedication, an unsung aria of artistic expression, honed through meticulous practice, transformed into silent captivation, now celebrated far beyond their inception's era. This art filled the emptiness of the underworld with visual splendor, creating illusions that extended earthly power into the spiritual realm. These creations transcended their existence, persisting as touchstones of human artistic achievement, devoid of the identities of those who made these visions reality. Consider two contrasting examples. In the shadow of a newly finished tomb complex, a sculptor contemplates their magnum opus, destined to stand for eternity, yet knowing their own narrative is lost between mortar seams. Decades crumble empires, yet structures remain, caressing time with silent stasis, speaking solely through work, realized absent of proclamation. Across millennia, parallels arise as modern artists deploy anonymously vibrant murals onto urban canvases, a living juxtaposition of expression flourishing irrespective of name and identity space. Both contexts underscore that timeless art speaks and endures, regardless of belonging, inscribed into its narrative, a celebration of human spirit, capable of enduring above identity constraints. Generations later, imaginations continue to find warmth beneath grand hallways, where artists sojourned with their muted tales, painting rich strokes within contemporary creation barns over endurance, chameleons, transcending modes. Their art becomes more than history. It becomes a cultural domain, an archive of humankind's eternal dance with beauty and mortality. This transformative power art as immortality without ownership endures, as broader lessons braid together, craft legacy within society, continually sculpting meanings from seemingly voiceless spectrums, the impact remains undiminished by anonymity. Recognition bridges names or absence into omnipresent narratives, fostering shared appreciation for talents encapsulated within brilliance marks, voided possibilities, awaiting only perceived observation. This duality between creator identity and art lends significant insights into modern perceptions of creative processes. Challenges arise wherein individual struggle toward recognition fades into broader conversations, valuing collective narratives beyond celebrated emblems embossed on larger stages. Any critique naturally contemplates nuances tracing art contributions' value across media today, seeking meaning in creative outcomes untethered by pronounced authorship. Identifying spaces where acknowledgements transcend physical constructs make narratives more resonate universally. Further verifying storytelling remains serial conversations, binding generations across boundaries through eras themselves, becoming stories woven unsung, composers' inquiries before states ground into expression. Let tranquil evenings invoke reflections through past artisans' whispers, melded deeply into carving tempo egresses, capturing emergence, echoing gentle resolve upon encompassing silent serenity. Here now the tales breathe ambiance of timeless embrace and hold curiosity, carried forward softly hued, artistry, forging paths, for transcending acoustic shadowser, unique presence, forming universal legacies, imprinting echoes, realized. Through glimpses, eyes closed upon cosmos, listening to every artist's soul in humanity's composite whisper. Bathe in profound understanding, rediscovering personal creativity, liberating in discovery anew, encouraging paths to embrace history by civilization's contribution when meshed beautifully into artist and art-transforming definition, extends interwoven harmony enveloped within dreams. The unvoiced exclamations from both knowing hands and ideal mirrors alight in this reflective timelessness, casting eternal gaze. What happens when the tools are down and time is your own? For the Egyptian slaves, moments beyond the relentless demands of labor were rare treasures, marking intervals where communal solidarity, family bonds, and cultural identity could flourish despite strict societal confines. Life beyond the whip was an intricate tapestry within which moments of leisure, identities, and human connection were preserved amid an existence marked by toil. In these precious intervals, slaves found ways to embrace fragments of normalcy and joy, connecting with each other and maintaining traditions that affirmed their humanity and individuality. These interludes transcended mere survival, highlighting resilience, adaptability, and silent defiance against the backdrop of servitude. Family and community ties offered profound emotional support, reinforcing cultural traditions that echoed within laughter and whispered stories passed down through generations, outlasting the grand edifices their labor had built. Through these shared experiences, the echoes of human universality resonated powerfully beyond structures of stone and mortar. Imagine the setting sun casting warm hues over an ancient settlement where laborers, having set aside their tools, engage in the subtle rhythm of a life less burdened, however briefly. Children's laughter intertwines with the murmured hopes of gathered families, sharing food and tales around evening fires. Here, slaves found a sense of belonging, of being part of something larger than their roles. They taught and learned generational knowledge, celebrated marriages, mourned losses, participated in simple festivals where laughter was a gentle rebellion against all-consuming labor. These moments sustained their spirits, threading cultural legacies that modernity now unearths through artifacts, restoring complex human stories lost among monolithic narratives. Such shared moments became the heart within their collective pulse, where hopes cautiously mingled among aspirations despite oppressive conditions. To step further into their world, imagine two contrasting scenes. In one, a skilled worker provides instruction in traditional crafts, skills intrinsically tied to cultural identity, becoming an unbroken link to past generations. Elsewhere, a small group listens attentively as elders recount stories of old, late-night storytelling, reviving memories through oral traditions soldered by years of familiarity. Cultural documentation was unnecessary. Words sealed time as protector of lineage. In modern parallels, communities still find ways to communicate in spaces where voices echo beyond imposed constraints, crafting dialogues written into spiritual and cultural resilience. Both examples speak of clandestine vibrancy amidst austerities shared, identity sustained not by what was created physically, but what internally persevered. The essence of life beyond labor offers timeless insights into human resilience and adaptability. It illuminates universal themes of finding joy, dignity, and community within adversity, an enduring testament to mankind's enduring quest for purpose and self-expression despite external pressures. These qualities highlight not just survival, but flourishing. Relating their stories elevates communal consciousness beyond quantified scapes, magnifying personal value against societal dictates. It teaches an appreciation that steps lightly within shared histories, embraced globally yet distinctively, bound to unique locales, continuously threading lived experience into broader human tapestries. Challenges in balancing exigency with human dignity. Shared communal spaces today reveal intersecting queries about life's intrinsic meanings, construed by work and leisure, societal rhythms resonating culturally across times. Reflection on such narratives echoes relevance through societal reinventions, standing firm by valuing each interconnected continuation's significance. Like ancient slaves, individuals today seek harmonies, threading work-life dynamics, finding grounding, identity, and connection amid wider constructs. As you close your eyes tonight under starry-heavened echoes, whispering collective pasts, embrace their enduring beauty, discovering these lives beyond tool-worn hands rendered into shared story strands. let fresh appreciation awaken new perspectives of personal journeys, exploring ways, moments transcend transient occupation roles, understanding echoes within layers, questing fulfillment beneath starlit skies. Offer yourself peace, soft as sand's ancient tides, as drifting towards sleep's embrace, feeling stories wash within consciousness, shading thoughts with nuance embraced by shared humanity, cradling dreams fulfilled across ages. Peacefully rest, knowing wisdom isn't inscribed merely onto stones, but etched deep within remembrance, drawn forward by those who've known life beyond constructs. Strong universal threads, woven together through time-bound hearts and souls, aligned into gentle intimacies, melodies, unforgotten lullabies. What sparks the fire of revolt when you're bound in chains? For Egyptian slaves, rebellion and resistance were dangerous, yet profound acts that occasionally disrupted the sand-swept realm of their existence. These acts of defiance, though rarely documented, were moments where suppressed voices found expression, challenging the harsh realities imposed upon them. Despite existing under a powerful socio-political structure, slaves sometimes rose against their conditions, fueled by desperation and the inherent human need for dignity and freedom. These rebellions were not just against physical chains, but against a system that denied them humanity and identity. They involved secretive gatherings, whispered plans in clandestine corners, and sometimes open defiance against overseers. Although the records of such uprisings are sparse, their existence highlights a universal and timeless struggle against oppression, demonstrating that beneath the weight of stones and sand, the human spirit remains unbreakable, ever striving toward autonomy and justice. Envision a community bound not just by labor, but by shared grievance, each member understanding the profound stakes involved in rising against their powerful overseers. Within these groups, seeds of rebellion may have been sown amid mutual suffering and a longing for change that transcended individual fears. In hushed tones, plans likely formed, drawing strength from a common desire to upend an unjust hierarchy, with courage bolstered by unity among them. The stakes of enacting such defiance demanded immense bravery, knowing the fierce repercussions that awaited any challenge to the status quo. Yet, historical whispers tell of rebellions, however small or short-lived, that tried to break the relentless cycle of oppression, indicating an unyielding human spirit that dared to fight against seemingly insurmountable odds. Imagine two contrasting examples. On one hand, an alliance quietly builds among trust-bound labourers who share encoded messages across difficult terrains, passing wisdom through nuance under watchful eyes. Conversations in seemingly innocuous gatherings ripple with subversive energy, testing boundaries where expressions of discontent manifest through hidden symbolism. Conversely, picture a solitary worker, exhausted by toil, who refuses his overseer's order's single stroke against tyranny, sparking awareness throughout. Both a communal uprising and solitary acts of rebellion reflect a shared narrative rooted in desperation and hope. Even today, modern counterparts draw upon these unrecorded rebellions, advocating for rights and dignity through similarly charged actions against oppressive systems, mirroring this enduring legacy of resilience. The slave rebellions of ancient Egypt act as powerful metaphors, drawing attention to the larger, timeless dialogues of individuality versus structures, imposing unrelenting constraints. Their stories offer critical insights into collective and individual resistance, reshaping narratives of autonomy, justice, and human dignity even within modern frameworks. Such accounts elevate awareness beyond the isolated incidents themselves, encompassing shared themes of bravery, defiance, and the quest for freedom ideas that not only unite diverse laborers of the past, but link historical memory to contemporary movements seeking liberation and fairness. Resistances, silently echoed through ages, become poignant reminders navigating present challenges within ensnaring constructs practiced against progress. These glimmers of rebellion can inspire reflection on the subtle undercurrents that thread through our own lived experiences today. Within societies characterized by layers of authority and power, the spirit of defiance against unjust oppression persists, igniting conversations regarding fairness, autonomy, and shared humanity that generates pathways informed by historical struggles. Identifying with ancient uprisings highlights a continued dialogue of resilience required to topple perceived inevitabilities, limiting human rights, a reminder of incremental progress claimed softly across relentless sands, angled arid, light. As you surrender to restful tranquility under starlit guides, remember shared human holdings, gentle and immeasurable, stretching timelessly through infinite linked histories, proposed through shared dreams. In losing oneself within peaceful introspection, rests reflection on how remembered narratives connect worlds once separate, opening windows, illuminating echoes, submerged beneath laborious hours. Peace finds you lodging within strings contemplatively tied, vibrating spirited whispers, beyond constraints, nudging awareness toward undiscovered lands, crafted quietly, yet familiarly. Slipping into tender silence, rend rebellion's narrative anew within waking dreams carried whispers, transferring ancient discoveries forged against resistant night. Breathe existence unspoken alongside histories, strong upon determination's enigma, letting drifting moonlight cradle imaginations aligning with rebellious truth, gleaned as harmonies silent, yet eternally awaiting among destinies swirled more gently forward, Kieshihan Kam Kam. As the echoes of footsteps fade, what legacy remains? In the story of Egyptian slaves, the legacy they left behind is etched in the silent dust of time, an unwavering testament to their resilience and the monumental achievements they constructed for a civilization that far outlasted their own lives. Despite their anonymity, the slaves' contributions resonate profoundly through the ages, captured within the pyramid's towering silhouettes and enormous statues that remain standing millennia later. Their story is one of unrecognized individuals, intertwined with the grandeur of ancient Egypt, forever linked to the iconic structures they helped to build. These architectural wonders serve as embodiments of human perseverance and endurance, where each stone carries not just historical significance, but the whispers of countless lives who were fundamental in manifesting these grand visions. They enabled a prosperous empire while living lives that were often less celebrated, revealing a complex narrative of indispensable contributions masked in the splendor of Pharaoh's ambitions. Imagine the monumental Giza pyramid's massive edifices, rising against the stark skyline, crafted stone by stone, each piece placed with precision. Behind these stones lies the labor of those whose names are lost, yet whose toil enabled the realization of grand tombs designed to touch the heavens. This grandeur is a reflection of the immense collective effort and skill harnessed over generations, a feat of human ingenuity achieved through countless hours of tireless labor. Amongst the heat and dust, beneath the oversight of scribes and foremen, layered within sweat and determination, lies a legacy not only visible through structures, but crafted from tenacity itself. Contemplate two perspectives to grasp the layers of this legacy. Picture a soaring obelisk adorned with hieroglyphics celebrating the pharaoh's reign, while the hands that chiseled its precision lived unknown. Generations past, descendants stroll the remnants of these grand architectures, unaware of individual sacrifices that erected civilization's grandeur on Egypt's horizon. Both interpretations symbolize the way enduring legacies often fragment through time's palimpsest partial recognitions, ever revealing multiplicities governing enduring grace against history's illumination. This narrative exists beyond appropriation, resonating as deeply meaningful in understanding complex societal structures, symbolism, and achievements connected both to past creations and modern interpretations. The silent heritage reflects broader topics surrounding labor, identity, and cultural recognition. It reminds of an ever-evolving dialogue on how value, creativity, and unseen contributions shape humanity, challenging notions against labels of insignificance, stretching far beyond ephemeral acknowledgments sought elsewhere. Recognizing this historical context matters because it informs profound conversations needed around cultural heritage and invisible contributions, relating intimately with identities, often confined within broader stories illustrated through solitary achievements, regularly releasing rippling intersections quietly held. Modern global labor echoes resonate persistently through mirrored trials met elsewhere when following steps chiseled sub silentio. Broader societal and historical implications meet inquiries challenging existing paradigms of legacy creation and identity assignment amid civilizations and fractured cultures. This timeless discussion unfolds for audiences daring to question widespread beliefs inscribed as truth-defining human greatness's rostro-nostalgic measure. Exploration provides fresh opportunity, understanding, and expanded comprehension of interplay manifested within circulating art galleries, maintaining many narratives shared when hearing whispered stones forward idos. Rest now, with acknowledgement nestled into sleeping souls graced alongside treasures anciently nourished. Here lies resilience, granting luminescence amidst crescendos, illuminating softly ensconced inquiries revealed worldwide. Let past lives' endurance guide spirit-bound reflections, offering gentlest serenity among visible legacies wrapped within silences of night's embrace. Sweet peace finds you listening beneath skyward expanse, encouraged, allowing memory's feathery continuity, arms cradled by legacies seeming transcending. Lost sands, where dance measures time spans, timelessly woven. Through these callings, grant soft surrender into night's lullabies with benevolent dreams forged from quiet acquisitions of whispering rest. If stones could speak, what lessons would they whisper? The silent monoliths crafted by Egyptian slaves hold stories and teachings that transcend time, offering timeless truths about perseverance, collaboration, and human ambition. Within these weathered stones lie lessons carved deeply into history, reflecting the enduring strength and resilience of those who, without recognition, built legacies from the ground up. These ancient constructions stand as perpetual teachers, showing us the essential power of human unity in striving towards seemingly impossible goals. Despite vast challenges, laborers collaborated to erect timeless wonders, revealing the magnitude of what collective dedication can achieve. This notion of collaboration emphasizes the importance of working together, uniting varied talents and efforts toward creating something greater than the sum of its parts. Their labor tells a tale where multitude triumphs over discord, and determination outlasts the limits of individual power, forming a foundation reaching beyond physical constructs into the conceptual spheres of society. The very act of shaping these magnificent edifices from Earth's raw elements demonstrates an invaluable lesson about adaptability and innovation, especially under constraint. The slave's ability to improvise solutions with limited resources underscores a creatively persistent spirit that defied expectations and capabilities. By learning to turn modest tools and materials into enduring symbols, they illustrated the profound potential inherent in resourcefulness. This lesson extends beyond their time, offering insights into how today's challenges might be met by harnessing ingenuity against limitations, inspiring resilience and adaptability in facing newer, complex obstacles. Additionally, these structural achievements illuminate how cultural memory and identity can be preserved and revered through tangible manifestations. Though the laborers themselves remain largely anonymous within historical records, the grandeur of their work embeds their contributions into shared cultural heritages. Thus, these monuments embody not only architectural prowess and pharaonic grandeur, but also serve as cultural touchstones, offering continuity and communal identity through generations. They remind us that our collective past, often built on the shoulders of invisible contributors, forms the backbone of modern civilizations and influences cultural identity continuously. In examining two perspectives, we see complexity and nuance woven through this narrative. For example, a stonemason chips away at an immense block, embedding both physical labor and an unwritten narrative into each meticulous strike, knowing it interlocks uniquely within the whole. Imagine the first awestruck visitors, centuries later, standing amidst these colossal pyramids, inspired by monumental artistry, layers veiled beneath architectural opulence, while unwittingly acknowledging artists' invisible legacies behind their designs. Both reflections mirror the dichotomy between visible achievements and intangible depth captured across histories, etched forever into earthly space-siege, marking life's full spectrum, alongside whispered echoes, teaching timeless lessons. Their enduring work urges a reassessment of how we value and understand contributions within history's broad swaths. In championing perceived forgettable endeavors lies significant value, turning collective focus from sovereign commendations toward recognizing roots upon which societal architectures ultimately develop their scaffolds. There is an invitation here to acknowledge contributions often unsung, drawing contemporary parallels, illustrating creative processes, valued through unassuming voices, thereby engaging realms inhabited beyond pure meritocracy's claim. Concluding these reflections, let us listen closely to the teachings these weathered stones bear. Embrace the harmony residing within deep integrations, forged over centuries, whispering truths found amid perpetual craftsmanship, woven across time-shaped layers gently shared, reminding us of the deep respect owed to past inspirators, whose anonymity echoes life lived on within inspiring constructs unveiled. Unified, let nighttime rest find you immersed in reverent silences. While the world awaits dreams, honor spirit energies calmed quietly nearby, inviting peaceful amalgamations, mindful of whispered, learning, serenading, serene slumber upon ancient dreams, entrusting you with enduring wisdom, entwined patiently alongside sands, eternal, harboring dual regal annals, born through both shadowed anonymity, yet illuminated fervently every still moment more brightly anew. When you look back in time, how clearly do you see yourself? The journey into the past, especially one that explores the silent footprints of Egyptian slaves, offers a reflective mirror into humanity's shared history and individual identity. Their untold stories invite us to rethink how we recognize and value every layer of our societal foundations, opening perspectives muted by historical grandeur, yet illuminated by endurance and perseverance. As we delve into this era, labor built upon dreams and sweat, one sees resilience and determination echo through an empire's timeless legacy-vast creations, birthed not by pharaohs alone, but sown by hands that shaped stones, dreaming beyond their silent expectancy. These monuments reflect back admiration and understanding that the nameless contributed ceaselessly to civilization, cradled beneath insignia, now weathered by time. Each stone beckons reflection on core principles of dedication and sacrifice, within human narratives weaving past principles, binding together historical tapestries, endlessly echoing through present-day symphonies of humanity's soul. As modern observers, we have the opportunity to peer into this mirror and glean insights about our current world, our values, and ourselves. Reflecting on their perseverance, we find inspiration in facing our own personal and collective challenges. The past reveals resilience and unity, teaching that strength lies in community and undying resolve. The extraordinary feats of these ancient builders encourage us to consider the unseen hands that have shaped modern society's landscape, recognizing the shared effort behind monumental progress. By learning from lives less documented, we restore value to overlooked contributions, engaging deeper discussions about equality and justice. This retrospective understanding enriches our appreciation for silent talents and obscured histories, urging us to notice echoes of humility and manifestation of human ingenuity housed in every triumph. The ancient slaves' stories beckon compassion and empathy, promoting conversations extending beyond their immediate narrative to advocate for inclusivity in history telling. On another level, these explorations into our shared past reveal parallels and lessons that address modern socio-economic structures. The nature of anonymous laborers whose collective efforts fuel expansive enterprises resonates today, with ongoing discussions regarding the rights and recognition of wage earners, migrant workers, and contributors within vast industries. Comprehending this continuity between past and present prompts calls for sustained acknowledgement and fairness, revisiting concepts like merit and value through inclusive lenses. Consider two perspectives to delve deeper into this reflective process. Visualize stark sands framing a monumental pyramid, silently conveying the ghosts of countless working souls obscured by grandeur. Picture us today, standing engulfed by towering skyscrapers, blinkered by modernity's digital footprint, yet echoing the same hum of industrious contribution. Both contexts invite a realization that while faces may change, the essence of work and dignity retains constant significance, timeless whispers, urging mutual respect across generations. This cohesive understanding embraces nuanced dialogue between whispers historic and whispers present, promoting fairness entrenched alongside acknowledgement. In embracing such connections, this reflective journey positions itself as an omnipresent reminder call to deeply comprehend and value unseen contributions, steering collective progress. It advocates for a redeployment of gratitude that extends inclusively, valuably sharing gifts bestowed upon modernity by ancient exploits. Together, they foster appreciation that celebrates diversely meaningful engagement, crystallized within enduring commonality building towards surviving time's relentless test. As day melts into night, remember those stories etched in modern hearts' brightening understanding with admiration. Let stars cradle gentle reflections, encouraging a panorama wherein whispers harmonize creatively within earthbound gallery remembrances. Peace be sought within newly opened windows, gently undulating stories reborn. Drift into sweetness, beguiling serene rest beneath dreaming skies, holding within cherished mystery timeless revelations, offered humbly by voices beyond starlit origin amidst symphonic cosmic interlude. Rest with peace, surrounded by echoes the repose of eternal dance, inviting soft slumber, inhabiting hallowed embrace, memories entwined deeply amid emotional works, stretching infinitely beyond ethereal horizons, welcoming you home.